What up, y'all? It's Marshall back with Marshals.Matters and my boy, MrWhoYaWit. For today, we're going to go over the NFC, AFC, division by division, who had the best draft in that division, who had the worst draft. So, to get things started, I'm going to go ahead and start off with the NFC West. My winner for this division is the Arizona Cardinals.
I like it.
Their best pick, man, Walter Nolan. He's a beast. He'll fit right up there with Gannon's D-line. My favorite pick, maybe in the entire draft, was Will Johnson, cornerback from Michigan. Dude should not have fallen to the second round. I know there was injury concerns with his knee, but dude was, if he would have came out fully healthy, he wouldn't have made it past the top 5. And they got him in the second round. And then lastly, I'm gonna just do 3 picks for the best and 3 picks for the worst. Cody Simon, the linebacker out of Ohio State. Dude can flat out move. And in Gannon's 3-4 defense, he'll be able to play that middle linebacker role, which is heavy on coverage, which is something he is very good at. Now, for my losers, and they're not really, I mean, honestly, the NFC had a hell of a draft. So the Seahawks are my worst team in the NFC West division. Not because they had a crappy draft. I think they had a really good draft because I think they reached on some guys. For one, Jalen Milroe, quarterback from Bama.
For
You
sure.
just signed. I love Jalen Milroe. Don't get me wrong. Lank, Lank. I love his swagger. I love his game. He's just gonna continue to improve as a passer. But the fact that they drafted him in the 3rd round after giving Sam Darnold all that money, the first time Sam struggles, he's going to get a pass, but the second time, man, they're going to be all over him. And they're going to want Milroe, and I think the amount of money you just paid Sam Darnold, that's a headache you don't really need to have. Elijah Arroyo at a tight end out of Miami. Bro, they already have a super freaky athletic tight end and Noah Fant. They don't know how to use him. So why add another super freaky tight end that's just not going to be used properly? Lastly, Seattle usually always runs a fullback, but the fact that they drafted a fullback from Bama, Robbie Outs, in the 5th round, not even the 7th round. But I mean, nobody was going to draft a fullback. I believe he was the only fullback drafted. You could have got him as a preferred undrafted free agent, but you waste a 5th round draft pick on him. Just don't make any sense. And that's why they're my losers for the NFC West, and the Cardinals are my winners of the NFC West. So who you got?
So, man, great assessment. With the Seahawks and Cardinals from the NFC West. Man, for me and the AFC West, the winners I have, I'm going with the Raiders. Man, I think Las Vegas came out of the draft with. Man, with the number 1 guy. I mean, come on now. Of course, that's the low hanging fruit right there. You say Ashton Genty being the number 1 back coming out. But I love their 2nd round pick too. Jack Beck out of TCU, big receiver. I had to go do some digging on him, knowing that he started LSU. He goes to TCU and really showcased a lot of skill. You hate to kind of compare him to just being any white receiver, right? You look at him and you see that Cooper Cup, or you see those kind of guys in him, just by default, bro. So, but I love that pick.
No,
Love
you're
that,
right. But I mean, you're right. Adam Thielen,
bro.
was
I mean,
before Cooper Cup. Cooper Cup's a better
absolutely,
Adam Thielen. I love Adam.
for
And
sure, for
I mean,
sure.
that's just, I mean, you find me a white dude that's going to run a 4-2 flat and be your number 1 downfield option, then we can talk. But until that day happens, we ain't
Right
there.
on. Right on. Hey, there you go, man. But I love the pick with Jack Beck as well. They got a lot of value guys throughout the draft. Like I said, 3rd round, you got Darian Porter from Iowa State, a real solid corner. Playing and watching a lot of the Big 12 this year. He went and get some guys. At Texas alone, you had a number of top tier receivers. Of course, your boys at OU. But yeah, I just think just playing against. I'm tripping. I'm saying Texas and OU when they're in the SEC now. So, but that whole
No, but
crew
you
at
got
Colorado.
T-Mac. You got T-Mac at Arizona. Arizona State had some ballers.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
mean, there were some
absolutely.
good
So,
receivers drafted from the Big 12.
but yeah, you had a big body receiver out of Stanford that I saw was giving Travis Hunter fits. So, yeah. So anyway, solid kids. So overall, the Raiders had a real solid draft. Worst AFC West draft, I think Denver. I like a few of their picks, but as far as just them in comparison to that whole division, uh, I don't think they filled enough needs in comparison to what the Chargers did. Of course, like I said, what Vegas did and what Kansas City did. Kansas City got a dude in what's the kid? Rashad White out of SMU,
Yeah.
converted receiver. I think he's gonna be a heck of a pickup, especially giving Pat Mahomes another weapon. Well,
Like he needs any more.
yeah, like he needs anymore, absolutely. So with that, man, like I said, I didn't hate Denver's draft, but I wasn't a huge fan in comparison to everybody else. So those are my winners and losers. You got the winners being the Raiders, losers being the Denver Broncos.
Now, imagine this. Somehow Colson Loveland or Warren out of Penn State fall to Denver. Or not fall to Kansas City. And then you have Travis Kelce's 2.0 learning from the GOAT.
Oh, absolutely. That's
I'm glad that didn't happen, but
right. There you go. There you go. That would have been wild. So, but yeah, nah. For that reason, though, like I said, man, Denver had a decent draft, but I think their whole division got stronger.
100%. So, well, now we're going to go to the NFC South. My winner here is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
I like
All
it
right, getting Emeka Puka,
for sure.
who I don't know if people are just tripping or it's recent or it's longevity bias, but the dude's been a top dog in college since his true freshman season.
Yeah.
He's not flashy, but he's a lot like his teammate that was drafted a couple of years before in JSN.
Okay, I like that.
And you got Chris Godwin, the speedster outside, Mike Evans outside. You're going to let Emeka and Jalen McMillan
Yeah,
and then have Kate Otten. I mean, obviously, it's going to be hard to run 4 receivers along with the tight end, but they'll find a way to get their best players on the field. But
absolutely.
to have all those guys, I mean, Baker's in heaven right now with those picks. I also like the fact that they got the big corner from Benjamin Morrison, cornerback out of Notre Dame. I watched a lot of Notre Dame this
Yeah,
year just because I
yeah,
wanted to see our boy from Denison. And dude, he's a big body corner that he's gonna do. He's a true outside corner. He's not gonna play nickel for you. He's a true outside corner, and he specializes in man-to-man coverage. And what better place to go than probably one of the best safeties in the NFL with Antoine Winfield Jr. having your back.
absolutely.
And last but not least, that they drafted, that was my favorite pick, Tez Johnson. The story of him. Have you ever heard the story of him
Well, man,
growing
that's
up?
Bo Nick's half brother, ain't it?
Yes. So his whole thing, like his story, man, I'm all for underdogs, and the fact that they got him in the 7th round, and they're gonna get somebody with a chip on their shoulder that's had a chip on their shoulder his whole life.
Absolutely.
When it comes to any kind of sport, give me somebody who's got a chip rather than somebody who has just got God given talent and never had to work for a thing in a day in their life. Give me that underdog that's always had to put in work.
For sure.
And he may not make an immediate, he might even not even make the team. He might make the practice squad, but if he makes the team, look for him on special teams as a
For
gunner,
sure.
as a possible return man. And he's going, man, I just like the dude, man. I like the pick, and especially got him in the 7th round. My losers for here, shout out to Big Shanae, but it's the Panthers,
It's
and I
gonna be
don't think they
Carolina.
had a
Yeah.
bad draft. I do think, I do think T Mac was the wide receiver of Arizona. I think they probably. I know there was a lot of smoke about Dallas wanting to draft him, and Dallas said they were going to draft him. I think that's crap. Jerry knew what lineman he wanted, and he knew he was going to draft a lineman. I
Okay.
think they could have traded back into the 1st round, maybe picked up another 3rd and a 4th. That's the only reason I'm knocking him, because I think they could have got him later on. Trevor Etienne, running back from Georgia, that's Travis's little
Absolutely.
brother. They got him in the 4th round, and dude, he's had all the hype, all the potential, and he hasn't really ever produced. And it's another case of nepotism, in my opinion. I do think he's good enough to play in the NFL. I do think he's good enough to get drafted, but he's not going to be your second back, and he might not even be your third back. And plus, Chuba showed that he can carry the load, so
Yep.
he's going to get all the carries. I think that was a waste of a pick in the 4th round. But my least favorite pick right here is the kid from A&M, Skirton, don't know how you say the name, but he was drafted at pick 51. Do you know who was drafted at pick 59? 8 picks later, Mike. Green, the
What
edge
lost you?
from Marshall. And the fact that he fell to the 59th pick and you drafted a dude who was far and away less superior, less of a ball player than a dude that went 8 picks later who honestly should have been a first round draft pick. Come on, man. So for that, I got the Panthers losing. I do think they had a solid draft. I really don't think anybody had a terrible draft in the NFC. There was the worst, which we'll get to that when we cover the NFC East. I think that team that I chose for the NFC East had the worst draft in the NFC. But honestly, this was like a really solid draft this year.
It really was.
Yeah. So who you got? Who you got?
Man, yeah, I agree with you wholeheartedly on that assessment. Am I good?
Yeah, you good?
Okay, cool beans. And the way you felt about the NFC South, man, I feel the same about the AFC South. Like really, my winner was Tennessee, right? I think Tennessee had to go with Cam Ward. He was a long shot, and I gotta shout my boy Marshall out because Marshall's been talking to me about Cam Ward for the last 3 seasons. So I
It's
refuse.
2021, dog. I went and checked our text.
Yeah, I refuse, and we got the receipts, man, to not give you your just due on that, man. So yeah, definitely getting Cam Ward at 1 was huge. All the intangibles, got the chip on his shoulder by his path, to the NFL. But I think the kid they got out of Florida, the receiver they got, well, 4th round, Shamir DK. I think that was a good pickup for him, a great value pick. You got your edge rusher from UCLA. Like I said, I like the way he rushes the passer. I wasn't really impressed with his run defense, but as far as somebody just getting after the quarterback, man, I love what he can do. The big kid I was talking about from Stanford, Ayo Manor, I think that's how you pronounce it. He gave Travis, fits, Travis Hunter in their game. And then you got the Texas kid. You go ahead and get Gunnar Ham in the late 4th round at tight end. So I think Tennessee definitely filled a lot of needs with their draft. And when you're the number one drafting team, that's what you're supposed to do. You got a lot of holes, right? So Tennessee was my winner in that division. Unfortunately, I don't have a loser. I think between Jacksonville, getting Travis Hunter, creating the waves they did with a lot of their picks. You look at Indianapolis, they got pretty much a Dallas Clark clone in the tight end for Penn
Mm-hmm.
State. I love that pick, especially with their quarterback situation. You give Anthony Richardson a security blanket of a good tight end, man, I think that's huge. Or if it's Daniel Jones, I don't, who knows, right? But I love what Tennessee did. And then you got the Texans. Man, they got both of those receivers from Iowa State. Two different skill
Mm-hmm.
sets, but man, two dogs. And you look at them losing. You know what I'm saying? What's my boy? Went to New England. Uh,
No, it's Diggs.
Stephon
Diggs.
Diggs. You lose Stephon Diggs. Tank Dell's probably gonna be out for the season with his injury. So you immediately go with those receivers, and they got a lot of good value picks on that, man. So I really can't call a loser in that division, man. But I do feel like Tennessee did the most with what they had to do in the draft.
My only complaint with the Jags' draft is they've got to be 100% on Trevor Lawrence. 100% on Trevor Lawrence because this next upcoming QB class, even if Arch doesn't come out, is one of the best QB
That's
classes we've
simple.
had in
My
ages.
God, yeah,
I mean, you got the dude from South Carolina who I watched single-handedly beat the crap out of OU and Sellers. Drew Allard from Penn State.
yes,
Arch
sir.
Manning if he comes out from Texas. Dude, there's just, I mean, look at the SEC quarterbacks alone, and you
Alone,
have
yeah,
all 14 of those guys, except maybe, well, actually, all 14 or 12. Is it 12 or 14? All 12 uh, have a shot in the NFL. Now, they're not going to go high, not all of them, but I mean,
right.
there's some dudes coming out
You got
next
some
year
dudes,
that
yeah,
if
yeah,
you're
for
not
sure.
all in, yeah, if you're not all in on Trevor Lawrence, say they have a bad season, then
Right.
the Cleveland Browns are probably going to have a high pick next year. And if Jacksonville sucks because of Trevor Lawrence, they're going to have another high pick. They could pretty much, they're going to have two high picks. They can go get that first round quarterback, number one overall, whichever one they want. That was my
Absolutely.
only thing with the Jags. But if they're all in on Trevor Lawrence and he bounces back like he did the sophomore season, Travis Hunter going to be getting some snaps. I don't like the fact that they're already talking about putting him on a pitch count or snap count.
Right.
The dude played 145 snaps in college. He's not going to play that in NFL.
For
But
sure.
don't limit him to 80 snaps. Or don't limit him to gimmick defensive plays.
Absolutely.
Let the dude go out and play ball. That's what he wants to play. He wants to play ball. He's been two ways his whole career.
Yeah.
He's got the stamina to prove it. Go look at his workout films while other people, while they're running gassers and his teammates are on the sideline puking, he's still running. I mean, dude's got the stamina.
He's a guy. He's a
So
guy.
to go on to the NFC North, I'm gonna really surprise you with this one. My winners, much as I hate to say it,
Come
is
on,
the
man.
Green Bay Packers.
Okay, I like
The
it.
fact they haven't drafted, I want to say the stats was they haven't drafted a first round receiver in like 20 plus years. They
Okay,
got
yeah,
Matthew
it's something
Golden
crazy.
out of Texas. That dude is a baller. I got, I watched him destroy OU. I watched Quinn just chunk the ball down the field, and the dude's going to go get it. He fits really well in what they have already at receiver. I do think he'll be their true number one with Dobbs, being more of a slot guy, which I think he's more comfortable with.
Right.
So that in itself is a great pick.
Okay.
They got offensive tackle from NC State, and I'm not even gonna try to pronounce the last name. His first name's Anthony.
Okay.
He's one of the. You'll see a lot of the tackles in this year's draft. They have the ability to flip into guard, and depending on what happens at tackle for the Packers, the fact that he can come in and be a swing player and probably start at right guard for them from day one
Right.
that's great value. Because I mean, the dude, and even if he doesn't start, the fact that he can play and he can play all five positions. He played center in high school, which is I know he hasn't played in a while, but if you played that center position, you know that once you get the grasp of it, after a couple months of training, you're going to pick it right back up.
Absolutely.
My favorite pick for them, though, honestly, was Micah Robinson, a cornerback from Tulane. I watched him a lot last year at Tulane because Tulane had that quarterback. Can't remember his name, but I love watching him play.
Uh-huh.
He was like a bigger version of Baker Mayfield.
He transferred
And
somewhere too, didn't
yeah,
he? Yeah,
he went to a bigger program I
he
don't
did.
remember
I
which
got to
one.
check. I got to check where, but yeah, he did go somewhere.
USC maybe? I don't know. He went to
Right.
a bigger program.
For sure.
But the fact that you don't know what's going to happen with Jair Alexander, might become a Minnesota Viking, who knows? But you got him in the 7th round, and he has a chance to be a nickel corner day one, and he's definitely going to help on special teams. I don't think he'll have any problems making the team. With that, the Packers got everybody they drafted has a chance to make the team, if not help out as almost starter like snap counts.
For sure.
My loser for the NFC North, the Minnesota Vikings.
Okay. Okay. Coming from you,
They're
wow.
that's my team. I ride or die.
Right.
But their worst pick, I like all their draft picks except one. And it was Kobe King, linebacker from Penn State.
Okay.
Right
Okay.
now, we have a plethora of linebackers
Yeah, I
that
agree.
are either going to be that are outside rushers when we go 3-4, or that. So we have plenty of outside rushers. This dude's going to be inside. We already have Ivan Pace. We still got Brian Asamoah from Oklahoma,
Okay.
who we drafted a couple years back. I mean, it's not really a depth piece. I don't really know I don't even think he's going to make the team. And the fact that they drafted him in the 6th round
Gotcha.
kind of leads, credence to that. But the real reason the Vikings are the losers, and I
Okay.
don't think they had a bad draft. I think they had a pretty good draft. I rated it at B. But they just didn't have any picks, man. They didn't have a 2nd round pick. They didn't have a 4th round pick. They had 2 6th round picks, a 5th round pick, a 3rd round pick, and a 1st round pick. They had the least amount of draft capital in the entire draft.
Okay.
And we traded some of our picks for Sam Howell. I do think he's a good backup addition for JJ McCarthy. But if you're going to get JJ a backup, I probably would have got somebody with a little bit more wisdom and knowledge of the game.
Absolutely.
But one thing KOC knows is quarterbacks. And he knew what he'd seen in Sam Darnold, brought him in. We had an incredible season. He knew what he'd seen in J.J. McCarthy. He was one of the later quarterbacks drafted last year. And if he would have went in this draft, he would have been right up there with Cam Ward with, in consideration for first overall. So I'm not going to dog him too much on that, but the fact that we just didn't have any picks, bro. I mean, that's just what it boils down to. We just didn't have any picks, which is good because if Jair gets released, there's still a boy out there that I really like, a corner called Asante Samuel Jr. I'm
Yes.
hoping he's the next Minnesota Viking, but we're saving some cap space. So those are my winners of the Packers, my losers of the Vikings for the NFC.
Absolutely. Good work. Good work. I'm going with my winners of the AFC North. I think, and this is year in, year out with how they draft, Baltimore Ravens. I think their philosophy of how they
People,
go ahead.
the freaking Ravens and the Eagles, bro, they're the two best drafting teams
Right.
in
I
the
totally agree.
entire NFL.
Football, absolutely, man. Baltimore, year in, year out, they're going to get value and they're going to get what they need. It's going to be a value pick, but it's also going to be somebody contributing to the team. I love the kid out of Georgia, Malachi Starks, and the reason being is you look at the safeties for Baltimore. You pair him with Kyle Hamilton, but also he got a skill set where if need be, he can slide up, play a little corner for you, play a little slot. Extremely versatile kid. So I love that pick. Their second pick, man, the big edge rusher out of Marshall, Mike Green. He's a
I
guy who
agree.
I saw.
We talked about him earlier.
Oh man, he's a guy who I watched a lot of his Senior Bowl work was where I was like, hey, this kid is a dude. Watching him work against some of the best tackles in the country and really, put on a clinic. I know they said he got some character issues, but I mean, come on now, a defensive guy,
Now,
you know the experience, man. We
Baltimore
all
keeps
trying
their
to.
stuff in house.
There you go, and he went to the right program with enough structure to deal with that, man. So another interesting pick for me. I like the Bilal Cohen pick, corner out of Western Michigan. Long kid, like I said, he fits that Baltimore old school Chris McAllister, Jimmy Smith. You know what I'm saying? He looks like a Baltimore corner. And then you got LeJontay Webster from Colorado. He goes there. Uh, I mean, I just see a lot of value throughout the draft. The biggest thing for me that was kind of not really a head scratcher, but was, kind of an eye opener for me was Tyler Loop, the kicker out of Arizona. They got Justin Tucker, but I know Justin Tucker is being Deshaun Watson 2.0 right now. So, he
I think they're preparing for life without
life
Justin Tucker.
for
But I
life
noticed
after.
that too.
Yeah, when you second best kicker in the draft though, so I get it. But then on top of Bilal Cohen, you also got another DB in the kid out of Rutgers, Robert Longerbeam. I think they're really stocking up for depth in the secondary. I know they were linked to Jair Alexander as well. That Louisville connection, him, Lamar Jackson. They came out in the same draft, so I can definitely see that dialogue and that move happen. But I know you want in Minnesota, so I ain't gonna speak into existence. But yeah, Baltimore had a rock solid draft, bro. Rock solid. Worst draft. Cincinnati Bengals. And the Bengals with their first pick got your boy. I know we had a discussion about Shamar Stewart out of A&M. You gave me the comparison of Daniil Hunter not being a huge productive guy in college, but he may get it. They're gonna pair him up with who? Sam Hubbard. Is that the other end in Cincinnati?
No, Sam Hubbard may be on his way out, but it'll be Trey Hendrickson.
So Hendrick, okay, I knew out of the both of them, which one is retiring? I thought one retired.
Hubbard's thinking about retirement right now.
Okay. So I mean, you do pair him up with Hendrickson, but a lot of their other picks, they took two linebackers who may not even see the field. One thing I will give them as a positive, they got Taj Brooks out of Texas Tech, workhorse back. The fact that you don't really have a strong backfield anyway. Chase Brown last year came out of nowhere and really took hold of that backfield. So I think that bodes well for his fantasy value as far as Chase Brown, but it also gives you a little bit of glimmer of a 6th-round pick being able to come in there and potentially carve out a role. I know your boy from OU, P. Ron, went back to Cincinnati, and then they had Zach Moss as well. So not a real strong running back committee. So Taj Brooks may carve out a role in that backfield. So even with that being said, bro, I wasn't thrilled with their draft. They just kind of took a decent flyer at the end of the draft, but I wasn't sold on them. So that's my AFC North assessment, bro.
So the Browns were my losers altogether of the draft. I
Gotcha.
don't know if I think I shared this. I may have or may not have shared this article. It just broke today or yesterday. But
Okay.
apparently the Browns had multiple meetings. So their first 30-minute meeting that they had, they brought in Travis Hunter, they brought in Shador Sanders, and they brought in Dylan Gabriel.
They went to go. I
Then
heard that
they
too.
flew then they went and flew to Oregon for Gabriel's pro day, and then stayed 2 more days and had lunch and had dinner with Dylan Gabriel. So that got me thinking, like, nah, they kind of knew that they wanted Gabriel, and
Right.
then they drafted 2 running backs. Like, you may still get Chubb back, but you drafted
That was
two running
wild.
backs, and that wasn't a position of need. You drafted 2 quarterbacks that, honestly, Shador's fall, that's crap. I don't think he was a first round talent, but I do believe he was a second round. I had him just below Jackson Dart in terms of where I wanted him.
Yeah.
But the fact that he fell to fifth, I mean, this will be a topic or conversation for us later.
For a whole other segment. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, 'cause I mean, man, I can talk about this for 45 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Moving on, but the last division for me, the NFC East.
Okay. Come on now.
Honestly, the NFC East had the best draft out of any division, in my opinion.
Okay.
We mentioned the Howie Roseman and the Eagles, and the Ravens. The Eagles and Ravens draft the 2 best drafting teams in the NFL. But
Absolutely.
I don't have the Eagles winning. I have the New York Football Giants win the NFC East.
Okay.
Abdul Carter from Penn State with their first
Yeah.
overall, with their
For
first,
sure.
their first pick of the draft. That dude is a freaking stud, man.
He's a dog.
He reminds me a lot of Micah Parsons. If Micah Parsons weighed 265, 275 pounds, he is going to be, let me throw an old name out there for you, O.C. Umenora.
Okay. Come on now.
All right, so
I like it. I like it. I like it.
he reminds me of a more athletic O.C.
I like it.
And when they had O.C. and Jason Pierre-Paul and Strahan's last year there,
Come on, man.
the Giants.
They had some guys, yeah.
Yeah, man, they all with the face mask, man. I wore that in high school. I tried to wear that in high school, but we were told it wasn't allowed.
Yeah.
But no, the tuck face, like, tuck face. But the fact that they're gonna get this dude, they're gonna pair him up with an already good line, and probably one of my favorite defensive players in the league, if not the favorite, sexy Dexy, man, Dexter Lawrence. Bro, to be
Big
that
fella.
big and get as many
Yeah,
sacks
man.
that he does is just crazy.
Gotcha.
They got my second quarterback in the draft in Jackson Dart. I don't understand. Like, I'm gonna eat crow right here. I said they would for sure trade either Russ or famous Jameis. They didn't. So right now their QB room is looking like Russell Wilson, Jameis Winston, Jackson Dart, and Tommy DeVito.
DeVito, come on now.
If
Yeah.
you got if you got 2 quarterbacks, you have none. If you have 4 quarterbacks, you have none. I do believe Dart will start by the end of the season, but he's definitely going to ride the pine behind those guys. DeVito's probably going to get pushed on the practice squad because there's no way they're carrying 4 quarterbacks in the active roster. If he makes it to the practice squad, he's probably getting picked up from somebody. But Cam Scatterboo,
Come
the
on
running
now.
back from Arizona State,
Come
they
on
got him
now.
in the 4th round. And you want to talk about a man that was he's a football player. When we talk about a football player, we talk about someone that loves to hit, that's physical. He's not fast. He's not. But go look at his runs, and he has breakaway runs. He is game day fast.
And you have Tyrone Tracy,
dude,
so you let
and
Scatterboo
he's
do
going to be
Scatterboo things. Yeah. I look at their backfield
I
potentially
love the pick.
being they're potentially that old school Tampa Bay Mike Allstott Ward Dunn tandem. Like smash and dash. I love the pick. I love the pick. I love the way they complement. They have the potential to complement each other. And then you have Malik Neighbors out there. I have no beef with that. I have no beef.
Lindell White, Chris Johnson.
Lindell White never.
All right, so
I
here are my
guess.
winners. Lindell White was good at Lindell White things,
Sir, yes,
and
sir.
that didn't always mean
Perfectly
on the
put.
football field.
Perfectly put. Sir, yes, sir.
My losers. That's politically correct answer, sir. We're in 2025. My losers for this draft, or for the NFC East, is the Washington Commanders.
Okay.
They got the kid out of Virginia Tech, Jalen Lane. So who does Washington have right now? They have Terry McLaurin. He's what, 5'11", 6 foot
McLaurin,
maybe.
you
Then
go
you
get deep.
have then they got Debo, who's 5'11".
Yep. Yep.
They draft this dude. He's 5'10" and listed in paper, so he's probably 5'9". They had a chance to draft a big body receiver. They did get this dude. I think on the second day of the draft or third, but he's he's a smaller body. You're gonna have three small body receivers, and ain't neither one of them got breakaway 4.2, 9, 4 sub 4.3
Okay.
speed. Like they're fast, but you need somebody when Jaden Daniels is getting pressured. Now Terry McLaurin is a great contested catch.
For sure.
He can go up there and get it, but it's a lot easier when the guy's 6'4" and can go up and you can throw it up in the red zone. So the
Absolutely.
fact that they went with another small body receiver, I do like the kid, but I don't like him with the Commanders just because of who they have in the receiving room.
Yes, sir.
They also drafted a dude in the 7th round, and Ja'Cory Merritt out of Arizona. I like the running back. I just don't like the running back selection. You got him in the 7th round. He's not going to play. They've already got 3 dudes back there that contribute well.
Okay.
He's not going to play. If he makes his team, it's on special teams.
For
And
sure.
then that takes the spot from another depth piece if you're going to have 4 running backs on the roster. I don't understand it. Yeah, it's a 7th round pick, but still feels like a waste to me. And then it's Kyrie or Carey or Kane. No, Kane. Kane Madano, linebacker from UCLA. The dude's already 26, and I know they've got some aging guys back there, but they've still got another. Wagner's probably got a year, maybe 2 years if he really takes care of his body. But he's a middle linebacker. Man, the fact that he's going to ride the pine and when he finally gets a chance to start, he may be 28,
28,
29.
29 at linebacker. Come on, man. That's not a position of
I mean,
longevity for sure.
that's already rough.
Yeah. Now you
He
probably.
will compete on special teams, but the fact that he's already up there that much in age, yeah, man, I just can't. Waste of a pick, in my opinion. So that's why the Commanders are my losers, and the Giants are my winners. So last but not least, AFC East. What you got, Mister Who You With?
All right, man. Let's roll with I think they probably had a top 3 or 4 draft in the whole draft. With my winners is going to be Buffalo Bills. Definitely hard for me to say the reason why. 2 Kentucky guys they got great value. With me being a Louisville dude, I hate to say it, but I love the cornerback, Maxwell Harrison. That kid just plays football the right way.
Story of the draft.
Man, and like I said, and a baller, man. Like I said, he can really play the corner position, man. So you look at Buffalo, they went real defense heavy, and I definitely respect that from the standpoint. Last year, you get Keon Coleman. Everybody had questions on what would life be after Stephon Diggs, but Keon Coleman, Shakir, the way they use the tight ends, Kincaid, and Dalton Knox, the way they use those guys.
Yes.
I think they did what they needed to do and really address defense. So you go cornerback at the first with your first round selection. They come back, trade up in the second round to get big TJ Sanders, a true one technique. He's right there getting ugly in the trenches. They're later. They traded back up into the second round, for Landon Jackson. And this kid I've followed for some years because he was so damn awkward coming out of high school. I remember watching him at the Under Armour All-American workouts, and he didn't know how to do a rip move. You know what I'm saying? He struggled with the
Now,
bag. You know what I'm saying? It looked crazy, but he's 6'7", 260. Started off at LSU, transfers to Arkansas, and is a dude. You know what I'm saying? He balled out, man. Them trading up, getting him, their fourth pick, Deion Walker, big nose guard out of Kentucky. So one thing Philadelphia showed me last year was when you got depth in the trenches and you can just roll out D linemen. I don't give a damn if you are playing against Pat Mahomes. Man, constant pressure, bust pipes. So the way they set their draft up, man, I loved it. You got two DBs, a fifth rounder, and Jordan Hancock out of Ohio State. And then you got in the sixth round, you got Dorian Strong, who was one of the captains at Virginia Tech. So you got three corners who can all make your roster and be some big time depth pieces. And then I think they got a hell of a return kid in Caden Prather out of Maryland. Me watching him in spurts, man. I just think they had a real solid draft from their first pick to their last pick, man. So they definitely had a top 3 draft for me. My losers are the Jets.
Yes, yes,
I think
I
the
concur.
Jets do Jet stuff, right? I don't know if now they got you got an offensive tackle, the big kid from Missouri, with your first number 7 pick. I think he's really raw. I'm blessed to know a little bit about Missouri. My cousin is the offensive coordinator, Curtis Looper. So he ain't said nothing bad about him. But, with that being said, and the fact I watched Missouri a little bit, at 7, when they had other needs, I don't know if you go that route. Especially with, you got Justin Fields. So if anybody can compensate for not the best line, it's the Jets right now. Plus the way they did my guy, Mekhi Becton. They pretty much drafted him, wasted that draft pick, and then luckily he went to Philadelphia, got a Super Bowl, so go Cards.
He got that ring right there.
You got the ring. You pass up on both the tight ends, the kid from Michigan, and of course the kid from Penn State. You get Mason Taylor out of LSU, who I personally, who we've been talking about nepotism so much. Is he a second round draft pick, your third tight end? It was either you get one of the top 2 guys to me, or you could have waited on the kid out of Bowling Green. I know the kid out of Miami has some good intangibles. I don't know if you go with Mason Taylor in the second round.
The kid from Texas, if you still wanted blocking, but the kid from
For
Texas
him,
can
I
still split
mean,
out wide.
yeah, man, I don't get it. The one pick I did love from the Jets, and this guy had as one of my sleepers going into the draft, Francisco Mauigoa, inside linebacker from Miami. Dude just gets out. He finds the football. So they got him late 5th round. And then they backdoored him with one of the edge rushers from Miami. So I'm big on when you get late in the draft, try to pair some guys up who know each other, so they come in with that competitive edge of, hey, it's us against everybody. Like I said, to me, the Jets didn't do enough, man. They had a chance to get a quarterback, to get behind Justin Fields, because we both know he doesn't necessarily last a season just because of his style of play. For them not to be in the sweepstakes of a quarterback during the draft was kind of wild to me. I mean, but there you have it, man. The Jets, their draft sucked, but Buffalo, man, I love what they did. So that's how we looking, man. Hey,
All right, man. So those are Marshals.Matters and MrWhoYaWit. Those are our winners and losers from the NFL draft. This is a segment we're going to start co-hosting. We're going to try to do this a lot more. Preferably right now it's Wednesday night. We're going to try to get an episode out for y'all at least once a week, if not more, if we can come to it. I think the next segment we're going to do is you want to do fantasy football sleepers?
let's make it happen.
All right, so it's going to be fantasy football sleepers. We're going to get this video edited today and try to have it out to y'all on YouTube. As always, you can find Marshals Matters on TikTok, Facebook, as well as YouTube. MrWhoYaWit, you can also follow him on Facebook and YouTube. The links will be down below at the edge of this video. So once again, man, thank y'all for watching. Have a blessed day.